Hi everybody, it's Anna here with Unearthed Arcana, and we are back after a pretty long little hiatus there with another Skyrim Wildlander Let's Play style episode. This time we're going to be doing a level 1 Embershard Mine dungeon clear using a two-handed heavy armor build with our orc warrior lady Akai. Akai is just kind of like an orc warrior bruiser type. She's got like a generic background in warrior skills. She's got the warrior stone. She's got this like gnarly bloody handprint tattoo on her face and this like dreaded hair. She's just kind of like a serious mercenary sellsword killer. But we're just going to be doing a quick clear of Embershard Mine at level 1 to showcase some heavy armor two-handed techniques. Currently hanging out by this fire so I can talk while my character doesn't get too cold, because otherwise she's going to get cold, and right now she's warm and I don't want her to be cold by the time we start the dungeon. So for those of you who haven't played Wildlander before, it's just one of those total overhaul mod packs you can download on Wabbajack. It's focused on immersion and survival. I love it. It's a great role-playing experience. It makes the game really beautiful. It improves the audio-visual environment. It also makes it harder and more immersive, so I just really recommend it, and if you haven't played it, you should check it out. I'm going to sort of assume that you've already played it if you're watching this video, and then focus more on the combat mechanics themselves. So Akai is going to be... What is this lady doing? She's like, yo, get away from our fire. Akai is going to be... focusing on great swords, just because I really enjoy them. But there's other two-handed weapons that you can use. Warhammers are fantastic. They hit super hard, they're slow, but they have a ton of armor penetration. Battle axes are fun too. I don't love staff combat. I just think it's kind of silly for my brutal orc character to be using like a piece of wood. But they are pretty solid. They hit really quickly and they deal a ton of damage too, so that's another viable option. But we're going to be using great swords for this current clear of the Embershard Mine dungeon. As far as our items go, we're just rocking generic level 1 iron gear. We spawned right into the world and I basically just ran over here. We have a stamina potion that we got just because we started the game with a random potion and happened to be stamina. Then we got some food that we'll eat. We'll have this apple cabbage stew for a bit of stamina regeneration once we start the fights. We'll eventually go into smithing, so we have a craftsman manual. But yeah, nothing really remarkable in our inventory. As far as our powers go, we got Berserker Rage, which is obviously the orc racial ability. Super powerful, gives you the ability to either punch outside of your weight class and take down bigger, scarier enemies, but also can be a really good panic mode button if you get in a tight spot in another fight. And then for stone, like I said earlier, just Stone of the Warrior, so pretty much just a generic, stock, standard warrior build for our orc lady. As far as perks go, we are using 2 points in heavy armor. First one's mandatory, that's just conditioning, so we don't have a passive stamina drain. And then Relentless Onslaught is the one that allows us to sprint in heavy armor. Nords, Imperials, and Orcs can all start with this at level 1 because they have some racial heavy armor skills in addition to the skills you get from your background. This lets you sprint without stamina drain. It also means that you can run into enemies and knock them over if your weight modifier is high enough. And then it gives you a little bit of damage mitigation as long as you're sprinting. So really great perk. I really recommend getting it as soon as you can in a heavy armor build. I got 2 points in block here. First one just to unlock kind of blocking as a viable strategy. Second one makes it much more sustainable, blocks much more damage. It means that we passively, well not passively, we sort of slowly regain stamina as we block things. So this is really good for longer fights where we need to wear down an enemy. Finally, 2 points in two-handed in the Great Weapon Mastery perk. The heavy armor two-handed style of play is very stamina intensive, especially at early levels, so we need our hits to count. Great Weapon Mastery ensures that our hits are dealing the most damage early on, which means that we'll need fewer hits to bring down enemies, which means we can conserve stamina and fight more efficiently. And obviously level 1, haven't gained any experience yet. The reason these are buffed is I think because our character's like well fed, thirst is quenched, and we're hanging out by a fire, so these are slightly higher than they would otherwise be. I think that's it for all the pre-combat prep I want to talk about. What I'll do here is walk on over to Embershard Mine. It's kind of just over this ridge. You can see the Guardian Stones right there. And we're kind of like at this fishing camp on the map, and the stones are here, and then Embershard's like just above it. So I will rejoin our video once I'm at the entrance to Embershard and ready to go. So I'll see y'all in a second as we get this level 1 dungeon clear moving. Okay, we are back at the entrance to Embershard now, just kind of walking up those stairs. Let me have this apple cabbage stew before I forget. So there's often only one sentry in front. If you're playing just stock Wildlander vanilla, there's one sentry. I have some mods that occasionally means 2 will spawn, but I think I only see 1. Like otherwise, yeah, there's only 1 of them there. When we're fighting this lady here, whenever you're fighting anyone in heavy armor 2-handed, it's really important you assess what weapons they're using and if they have a shield or what kind of armor, because that'll affect how you approach the fight. This is less true with light armor and with a mage build, because you'll probably approach most of those fights pretty similarly. With heavy armor, if we're fighting someone with a shield, that means that the fight's going to be a little bit longer and we have to conserve a little bit more stamina. Also, she's using a mace, which means it's going to be a lot easier to bash interrupt when she does that. So bash interruption is when we hold down the block key and then tap it like that with our attack key, which will smash her with our hilt or pommel of the weapon or something. And then that quickly staggers her and allows us to get a counter attack in there. So bash interruption is a really important technique that we'll see. The other 2 techniques we might see here, first one I call cutting the corner. Cutting the corner is if she does a running power attack, I will try to cut to the inside of her with a just quick little movement, not actually blocking or doing anything, just manually dodging it, and then slash her in the back after I cut that corner. And then finally, the third technique we might see is I call it chopping down the tree. That's basically where if her shield is up and she's just kind of tanking behind it, we're just going to slam our weapon into her shield over and over and over again, which against most enemies will kill them faster than it drains our stamina. So it's kind of a dirty little like pummeling trick you can do, but it is an option if you're ever just tired in a fight and you just want it to be over. So those techniques in mind, let's get this fight started.
Never should have come here.
So as a heavy armor character, I don't want to like do unnecessary movement. I kind of want to move slowly where I can. Wait for my bashes. So there's a nice little bash interrupt here. That time we were just able to manually dodge it. That was a big wind-up, so obviously an easy bash interrupt. Oh my god, there's like this wolf right here. Jesus Christ! Okay, we got rid of the wolf. Oh my god, that's really terrible. Let's see if we can get her. If we move far enough away from her, sometimes they'll do like running power attacks. I don't think she's gonna do that though. What we'll do here, just to finish this fight off quickly, is we'll start the chopping down the tree techniques. We're basically going to get her at the very end of our greatsword range and just kind of smash into her shield repeatedly. If we get too close to her, she'll bash us, but eventually what happens is she'll either miss her block or try to start a bash against us and then mistime that and just die to the shield, or just die to the sword. Alright, so we took a little bit of damage from the random wolf that just kind of ambushed us from behind there. Another advantage of having those 2 perks in Great Weapon Mastery is it means that you kill wolves in a single hit, which is so important in the early game. Otherwise, that fight could have really become a problem. Okay, so we got to see 2 techniques there. We got to see some bash interruptions, and we got to see chopping down the tree. Chopping down the tree was really effective there at the end because we were able to kind of just hang out at the very end of her range and at the very end of our range and then just kind of slash her to death while she tried to block it. 2-handed weapons have really good armor penetration and high damage, so this will generally work against enemies who are lower level or enemies who just like don't have as many points in block. The other thing I just did back there is just swapped out our armor for her armor. Whenever you do these level 1 clears, just make sure that you're swapping out armor as you go because you'll start getting upgrades pretty quickly. Okay, I don't love that we took damage from that wolf, but it's not really a big deal. We didn't take any damage from her. So, heading inside Embershard, kind of a good moment to pause and talk about my other runs. So I definitely want to get back to my Emere the Dunmer run and my Vigilant Kima run, but I kind of fucked up the mod organizer profiles for them, so I have to rebuild them because the games aren't loading correctly. So that just gives me a good hiatus to focus on heavy armor two-handed videos anyway, because this is super fun and they're kind of fun to play. So yeah, that's what happened to those other videos if you're wondering, but I'll come back to them in the future. Getting back to this run, let's talk about the Embershard Mine rock trap. So I've heard a lot of advice about like lure bandits back to this trap and it'll kill them. I've probably given that advice myself. It's bad advice, don't do it, because this just gives you a crutch to get through this fight without actually getting better at timing and combat. There is a time to use rock traps to kill enemies. Like there are some higher level enemies in other dungeons where that's a viable strategy. But if you can't kill these bandits with just a straight up fight, you honestly probably just need to practice a bit more, and the trap is just not going to help you get better at those skills. Alright, so let's trigger the argument between these two bandits. One of them's going to take a nap, the other one's going to go on patrol, and then we'll just kill them. So we have those two techniques we talked about, bash interruption and chopping down the tree. Another technique we might get to see here is called cutting the corner, and I talked about it outside. We didn't get a chance to do it, but we'll see if we can bait one of them into a running power attack, and if we can, we'll try to do that inside corner cut, manually dodging them, and then slicing them in the back. Alright, so this guy's got, oh interesting, he's got a, looks like a sword and a shield. So swords are really fast, they can be hard to block. That guy, ugh, I totally missed that. That's okay, we managed to get that one. Alright, so that's a really good example of a corner cut on that guy. So this, oh wow, there's 3 of them here. Okay, this is unusual. This is a good example of like a oh shit, I just lost stamina. That's super bad. Oh my god.
Die already so I can take your stuff.
So this is super bad. I gotta like get back there to find my fucking weapons. I have a mod that sometimes adds a 3rd guy to this. Let's like not trigger the rock trap here. Where's my sword? Okay, we got our sword back. Alright, let's just keep backing up. Let's get our two-handed sword back in the fight. Okay, so this is kind of a disaster there, but we're honestly doing okay, and this guy has like no stamina anymore, so we're just gonna chop the tree down on this guy. Oh god, just chopped his fucking arm off. Alright, so this is kind of a chaotic fight right there. We took some damage, but honestly, like, there was a 3rd guy that I didn't even know about. So let's recap that fight. It's sort of a fucking mess. I hope these guys have some healing stuff. It doesn't look like they do, which kind of sucks. Yeah, they don't have any healing stuff. Alright, so what happened there is that first guy, we got a block off, we slashed him. The second guy ran in with the lunging power attacks. We were able to kind of cut the corner on him. Managed to slash him and his friend. Killed these two because they were relatively lightly armored. Also, like, totally dismembered them. The dismemberment is courtesy of the dismembering framework right here, which is a mod that I've added. Just a really fun mod that makes the game more gory, kind of like Fallout style, but definitely not part of stock Wildlander. The blood, this like super gory blood, is also part of a mod I've added, which is just the enhanced blood mod. Anyways, we killed those two. Then this 3rd guy came. I have another mod that occasionally adds guys to dungeons, and that's exactly what happened here. Was this random 3rd dude just kind of came charging in. We were super low on stamina, so he disarmed us on one of his hits. So then you got to kind of see me like run around and like do some quick secondary weapon bash hits, eventually recover our primary weapon, continue to dodge those attacks, and then get in a final hit or 2 to kill him. And by the end of that fight, that dude had like no stamina, which was why he was walking so slowly. Right there is a good reason that you always want to have a secondary weapon. So I had my iron sword hotkeyed, and you'll notice that after I got my great sword disarmed, it automatically switched to my secondary weapon. And honestly, that probably saved me because it enabled me to like get something out there that I could use to get a quick block off or a bash off. Overall, kind of a shit show of a fight there, but we did survive. We didn't take too much damage given the situation, so I feel pretty good about that. Alright, going deeper into Embershard. It would have been nice if those guys had healing potions, but we'll just make do. Always check these 2 stew pots right here. Sometimes you'll find some good items in there. Ooh, beef stew is fantastic. I'm just gonna eat that right now. Beef stew is just a really, really great buff. Like, you always want to have beef stew, but you typically won't have it at level 1. I'm fine just chugging that right now because we already took all that random fucking damage from that dude that just kind of ran around the corner. Okay, so next enemies are going to come through here after we pull this lever, and we're going to do a technique called funneling to beat them. Funneling is when you take multiple enemies and you funnel them into these narrow areas so they can't flank you. Getting flanked in this game is absolute death because you're just going to die at these early levels because your stamina is going to get drained, your health's going to get drained, you can't see enemies, so you can't get flanked, obviously. When you funnel enemies into these narrow hallways, they can't get around each other, so you end up turning 2v1s or 3v1s into a series of 1v1s, which is much more manageable. Alright, let's put the bridge down. Let's see who we're dealing with here. Alright, so we got one guy with like a 2-handed weapon and another guy. Okay, so 2 guys with 2-handed weapons. This is a perfect opportunity for bash interruption. This guy, oh, fuck, I kind of like don't want that guy to run away. Alright, so I'm actually gonna chase this guy because if this guy runs away, he's gonna alert all of his buddies that I'm here. So that dude's dead. This guy's still fighting though. Ugh, and I kind of used a lot of stamina. Okay, so that guy's dead now, but now we got this guy who's coming in. We're super low on stamina. Yikes. Alright, so what we're going to do here is a little trick to recover stamina, which is just kind of like hang out down here while our stamina regains. I sprinted to try to catch that guy before he got to reinforcements, but he got a little close. This guy's going to swim over to us, which is fine. And we're just going to swim out of there. Kind of reset this whole fight. Our stamina is so low, though. I think I am just going to pop that stamina potion. Yikes! That was super scary. Good example of a corner cut, though. That guy just came in real hot. His stamina is super drained, though. You can tell. Whenever their stamina is so drained like this, you'll notice that they, like, walk like a horker. And this is great for us because they start to do these random power attacks that, like, obviously are super easy to dodge, and then we can just slash them in the back. Okay, so that worked out pretty well. Looks like no real upgraded armor on this guy, which is too bad, but we'll check out the others. I typically don't recommend sprinting to catch up to enemies. It's often better to just, like, let them get away. I got a healing poultice there, which is really nice. Probably gonna end up using that. But in this case, I didn't want him to go and alert everybody in that other room, because then I would have been in, like, a 4v1. What I am gonna do here, though, because I got that healing poultice, I'm gonna quickly chug that, and then just take, like, a 1-hour nap, which will regain our health right there. Our beef stew buff is still going to be up. We've lost our apple cabbage stew buff. But that's not the end of the world, because we actually had a second apple cabbage stew that we picked up over at the campfire by the bedrolls. So I'll just chug that right now and just kind of nom on that. Okay, so this has been kind of a messy clear, but honestly we're doing fine. I'm not going to worry about looting this too much. The only things I am going to worry about is I'm going to grab this greatsword because it's probably better than the one I'm using. It deals about 10 more damage, so I'll use that. Then we'll check this chest. Nothing fantastic, but I'll definitely grab the healing potions. There's no like good weapons or armor though. And then I'll ditch my old greatsword in there. Then let's hotkey these. For those of you who are thinking of doing level 1 dungeon clears, obviously it'd be much, much easier if you didn't have paused or unpaused menus, because like you saw all the shit show with me like picking up my disarmed weapon with unpaused menus, having to like navigate this situation while those guys were coming, so unpaused menus make it a lot harder. Alright, so techniques we've seen so far. We got to see a ton of corner cutting on those enemies because they were doing a lot of running power attacks. Running power attacks, especially with the mace, you do not want to block those. They'll just deal so much damage anyway because maces have high armor penetration. So just cut the corner and then slash them from the back. And that's what we did for the last few guys, and it worked out really well against that last mace person. We ended up slashing him like 3 or 4 times, and he didn't hit us once. And then we got to see a bunch of bash interruption, chopping down the tree. Just got to see that outside. Next thing we're going to talk about, though, is... And we got to see some funneling as well. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to, like, lure some of these guys over here. There's an archer that's, like, over there, up on that ridge. And, like, I don't really want to fight that archer in the open, because that'll penetrate right through my armor. Ooh, I need to hotkey this. What I do want to do, though, is try to do a technique called tap bashing. Typically when you bash, you just hold down the block key and then fire off a bash to interrupt. And that's very effective, but like I was saying earlier, it does drain stamina. I don't know where these guys are. Okay, now they're coming. Tap bashing is where we don't hold up the weapon like that, and we just try to time both of them at the same time. It's really good against two-handed weapons because two-handed weapons are slower, so you can get that timing a little easier. These guys are super stupid. They just like cannot find me. Like, are you gonna come and fight me? They're finally coming. Jesus. So if these guys have slow weapons, we'll tap bash. This guy looks like he's got a sword, which is pretty fast. God, he's pretty smart, actually. He's like, I don't want to go over there. I want to fight you in this area back here where my archers can cover me. When we're fighting archers, we don't want to hug cover, and we'll talk more about cover after I deal with this, like, really intelligent shield guy. Hugging cover is when I'm, like, up on this wall and I can't see anything around the corners. Like, I feel safe because I'm like, oh, I'm, like, right next to cover, but then you saw that guy just appeared around the corner. If I'm off of cover, I have better visibility. So I always want to be off of cover whenever possible. For this guy here, because he's just got a sword and a shield, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some chopping down the tree and hopefully he'll just mess up. Ugh, we're all just miss horribly. Oh, there's another person coming. Ooh, that person's got a crossbow. Okay, so we're going to have to readjust the situation because the crossbow person followed us. So here what we're going to do is we're going to try to lure this lady into getting a slash, then we're going to kill her on her backswing. Okay, so she's dead. We kind of baited her into the slash. I really want to reach this crossbow person around the corner. Ooh, that's not a crossbow person. Yikes! Alright, so there's a good corner cut right there. I don't know what this lady is doing. She got like stuck in the wall or something. We got a good corner cut on her as well. Okay, this guy right here though. Ooh, crossbow. Ow, super scary. Okay, we're gonna lure this guy forward. They are not getting lured. Alright, we're gonna have to disengage from this. This is super scary. Alright, we're just kind of zigging and zagging right now. Okay, so the problem we have right now is I have a mod that spawns extra enemies. I don't know what this guy is. Like a random dude standing in the entrance. I hope that guy's not gonna fight me. Anyway, these enemies were super smart, and they like all came over together, and we got a crossbow guy who's shooting me. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop my crude potion. We may end up having to rage here. I don't know what is going on here.
I help my mother Arab with the hunt. We bring much meat and skins to the stronghold.
I don't know why that person is there. I don't know why. And they're like, what is going on here? Okay, hold on. This is super buggy. I don't know why Nagrub is here. What is he doing? I'm gonna disable Nagrub because it's just like messing things up. I don't know why he's here. We're gonna go back to fighting these guys for real. Alright, there's our crossbowman. So we finally got the crossbowman separated from this guy. So I am now gonna rage and run past this guy. zigging and zagging, closing the distance on the crossbow. We're gonna kill him. I think there was a third person here. I'm not sure. Yeah, there was a third person that just shot me in the fucking face. Okay, so the archers are dead. Only person left is this idiot here. And we have rage going, so we're gonna get to do some power attacks against this guy. Typically I would not power attack at level 1, but we're gonna do some rear power attacks here. Oh, never mind, rage just wore off and I missed my power attack anyway. Alright, finally. Jesus. Oh my god. What a shit show fight. Oh god, that was a fucking mess. There's way more bandits in here than I thought there would be. We have like a random orc stronghold person that spawned in here. I don't know what that was about. I'm gonna re-enable this person. I'm gonna see why he was here. He like helps his mother with the hunt. Look at him, he's just like hanging out right there. I don't know why that guy is there. That's a weird, weird bug. I wonder if this has to do with like the Requiem more spawns stuff that I've added.
I help my mother Arab with the hunt. We bring much meat and skins to the stronghold.
I don't know who this guy is or why he's here, but he's here. That's fine. Alright, anyway, kind of a mess at the end there, just kind of a shit show overall. But overall, we got to see a bunch of kind of like ways you can clear out a level 1 dungeon. And obviously this Embershard clear was significantly harder than probably it would have been if you didn't use mods, because there were like twice as many enemies down here. So if you're not using the, I think it's called like Requiem more spawns randomized, if you're not using that mod, then you wouldn't have to fight this horde of archers and other enemies. But I was using it, so this was just a lot harder. But that's okay. We still got some good fights in there. We still got some really good kills. Overall a pretty good clear. So thank you so much for watching. We'll do some more dungeon clears probably. After I upload this one. Just to recap our techniques though, just so we kind of get some foundation after that crazy fight. So we have bash interruption. You can either hold it down and bash like that, or you can do a quick tap bash like that. That one's more stamina effective, but it's harder to time. We have chopping down the tree, basically just hammering your sword into someone who's got a shield quickly. It doesn't quickly, it slowly whittles them down, but also is pretty stamina intensive. We have corner cutting. Basically anytime someone does one of those running power attacks, we're going to cut to the inside here, then quickly slash and kill them on the back. Then we also had funneling. We got to see some kind of mini funneling at the end there when I tried to like get these guys all lined up and kind of moving down the tunnel so I wasn't fighting them here and getting shot by archers. And then we also got to see, I was going to do some power attacking, but I didn't really get an opportunity to. We did get to see a good example of when to use rage at early levels, because rage gives you a stamina bonus, so I got to use it when I was charging that Argonian back there, just to make sure I had enough stamina to kill the Argonian and then kill the rest of these archers back there. Alright, so there goes the fight. I'm gonna go over here and hang out with my like orc stronghold buddy who's like joined me. We're gonna have some orc solidarity together. This is the weirdest thing ever. And thank you so much for watching though. If you got any comments, let me know in the comment section or on Discord, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.